The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Greetings to all the viewers out there. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Easton 300, a monthly TV show that talks about all the good things that are happening in 2025 as the town of Easton, Massachusetts celebrates its 300th anniversary. Can you imagine, folks, 1725 to 2025? I'm Dave Clifton, happy to be the co-host of Easton 300, along with co-host Brian Hoffman. And Brian, so far, all the events and activities have been heavily populated, and there seems to be a nice warm feeling about the celebration.
I think there is. The word around town is, if you missed it, shame on you. And if you miss what's coming up, shame on you again, because every event so far has drawn thousands of people and I think has done a really incredible job of spotlighting the town of Easton, highlighting the history, the culture, and the community. And this is all about the community, and everything that's coming up, I think, is going to do more and more of the same thing. So we've got some great guests here this evening to talk about that.
Yes, we got two gentlemen that I'm very proud to have them on the show because they do a lot of work behind the scenes. Brian and I have had lots of people on the show since the show began in early 2023. And we're going to do it right up till after the last event takes place.
We are indeed. We'll have a great wrap-up show in January.
It's been a lot of fun, but we've had the coordinators and the chairs and the people who have had key roles in the town celebration. It's a year-round celebration. As someone said to me, Brian, what day is the celebration on? I said, lots of days, because it's thanks to the sponsors and the folks who have made contributions, we've been able to do that. And we've tried to make it very clear to our viewing audience that all the funds are raised. People have made donations, healthy ones at that. And people have come forward to sponsor many of the signature events. And we certainly, and I've been hearing about some folks out there that feel that maybe we're spending town funds that could go towards other things. And the town knows that the events have all been paid for by donations, but I want you to know out there, folks, there's a great sense of cooperation from all the town department heads.
Yep.
They've been there for us, and Brian and I and our guest today, we know that we could not run the celebration without public safety involvement. We know that you can't bring large crowds together without having police and fire.
Yep.
And DPW, who cleans up the area, who does this and that. Yep. And so we're forever grateful to all the town department heads. Brian, let's meet our guest.
Yes, indeed.
Our first guest is Craig Lepro. He's one of the newest members of the Lions Club. Congratulations. I heard that you were recently inducted into the Lions Club. And that's a club that makes a big hit here in the town.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the largest Lions clubs that I've heard of in the surrounding towns, knowing the good things they do. And their magic theme is we serve.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're trying to do on this committee.
Yeah. Couldn't be more appropriate, I think, in terms of service is the focus of what we're doing, and service is the focus of Lions International. And I think at one point, the Easton club was the largest club in the country, and I'm not sure if they're still there, but they're right up there. So
yeah, we won Best Club International 2008.
Yep.
40,000 clubs, and Easton came in #1.
I remember back in 2007, 2008. I'm familiar with it because I came to the Lions Club to make a special presentation for being chosen as the #1 Lions Club in the Lions Club world. And I happened to be the governor of Rotary that year, so I came forward, and that's when I first met some folks here in the town of Easton.
And I'm
But
sure
they
the
had a
first one
huge
was
crowd.
Lee Williams.
And they, of course, they looked at me,
Yeah.
Rotary governor
Rotary.
is here at a
What are you
Lions
doing? Yeah.
meeting. But we in Rotary have a motto, service above self. So that word serve is a magic word. Our other guest, of course, is a guy who has been working very hard on the parade committee. And of course, Lee Thompson just got through doing a training session. Tell us about that, Lee.
Okay,
You're training people who are actually running the parade.
that's it, exactly. We started out, well, the way I look at it, we have a group of fire and DPW vehicles, plus we have 5 parades. We have 5 divisions, each one with its own makeup, a band and groups of people. So what we've done is we've had, at the meeting, we chose 5 parade captains, and the parade captain is the one that's going to be kind of looking out for each unit. And each of those captains has other assistants working for them, because this thing's going to be big. It's going to be, I think it's going to be the biggest thing since the Flyaway Dam broke. And I was here for that.
You were there.
I was there, coming home from night school, and I come up over the hill by the library, and 4 feet of water going across Main Street. Wow! But this is right up there. This is going to be big. It's going to be a wonderful time. Mm-hmm. And what we did last Saturday was, first we chose a team captain, a division captain for each of the divisions, and then those captains in turn got people to help with them. The team captain is the one that's going to be sitting at the head of the parade in each group. And as the parade fills in, the other helpers will come along with them. And we're going to have people more or less stationed, for instance, down near Mechanic Street. When the marchers get down to there, the marcher's going to turn down Mechanic Street, and the vehicles will keep on going. Up at the monument, we're going to have people there that when all of these units come down the street, we'll identify them by the division and say, okay, you go down and line up there, line up there. So we're going to have a whole bunch of people helping us.
What Brian and I would like to do right now is to highlight to our viewing audience exactly when the parade is. It's going to be our Easton 300 parade. And of course, it's scheduled for July 12th. Parade lineup is at 9 a.m. The parade begins at 10. It'll be kind of crazy when we start lining them up, but it's going to last maybe 20 minutes. And when the parade comes down the street, you're going to see some exciting things in all the, I should say, divisions. There are 5 divisions, but the lead off of the parade is going to be all the town department heads. I mean, should say not department heads, but the town fire apparatus from all the area towns.
Yes.
And I know that Easton has had their fire department a lot of parades, and now it's a chance for them to come and to help us celebrate 300th anniversary. Hats off to the sponsor, the Haynes Group. They're the ones that are the overall sponsor for our Easton parade. It's going to step off down near Center Street on the corner of, I should say, Short Street. All of the fire apparatus will be lined up, maybe 30 towns. So folks, when the fire departments go through, don't leave and think that the parade is over. There's 5 more divisions coming.
Just the beginning.
And I know that the Clydesdales are going to be here.
Yep.
The Shriners are going to be here.
Yep.
And they're well known for participating. There'll be a state police flyover. There are a lot of people that have called me that got a big kick out of the flyover.
Oh,
at
I'll
the
say.
flag ceremony.
I'll say. Yeah.
For a minute there, I thought he was going to land, and then he played his siren when he flew over the crowd. But that's what we intend to do. We'll get some talented bands that are coming. We got
Absolutely.
local town officials. They'll all be in Division 1. There'll be hay wagon rides. There'll be motorcycles. There'll be horses. The list goes on. And of course, a lot of community spirit.
Yep.
And you can add to the parade. You've been around for parades over the years.
I have, and have been involved in some on a more real-time basis, but that was a long time ago. But the very talented, Dan Anderson and I will be, at the DPW near the reviewing stand, doing some of the vocal work. But I want to go back to what Lee was talking about, and then talk to Craig as well, because just saying there's 5 divisions and everything's going to go like clockwork really kind of begs the question of how big a clock are we talking? Because when you're talking about 5 divisions and each division having 10 or 12 units between vehicles, floats, marchers, bands, etc., that's like a 5,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, and nobody has the secret except you and the 5 captains.
I had a full head of hair when I started this thing.
But let's talk with you and Craig about a little bit more of the detail in terms of what goes into orchestrating, and you really are like the orchestra leader, you and the captains. What goes into getting that parade from point A to point Z?
I think a lot of it goes with pre-planning. We have made participant guides that will be sent out to each participant, and the guides tell them which division they're going to be in, what time they should show up, what they should be looking for, what they should be wearing. Our division captains have been schooled on radio communication, on where to contact if there's a concern, where to contact if there's an emergency.
What to do if you're missing somebody who didn't show up? How do we fill it in? How do we keep going?
Absolutely, right, yeah. And each division has been pre-laid out. An awful lot of work has been done.
Yeah.
So that each division will start with a banner that identifies the division. There will be some marchers. There will be a band in each division, and then things that follow along. And we've got a layout that has house numbers on Center Street. And when you come in, if you're in Division 2, you're supposed to line up from this house to this house. And if you're in Division 1, you're down here.
So not a lot is left to chance.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Yeah. And we will have the division captains will be at the head, at the location of where each one is. And then we'll have a couple of assistants with each one. And I'm anticipating as the vehicles come down the street, we'll identify which division. Okay, you pull in here and you pull in here. I know sometimes it's like herding cats, but we're going to make it happen.
Exactly. Craig, jump in here. Talk about what you're going to be involved in and how this has all come to you.
We have a tremendous committee. We've been meeting since May of 2024, so a little over a year in planning this. And Dave Clifton is the chair of the 300th, and each our subcommittee has its own chair and about 15 volunteers. And we meet. Originally, it was every other week. Now we meet as we get closer to the July 12th parade date. We meet weekly, and like Lee said, this is going to be a parade to remember.
Yeah.
It's we have 5 divisions plus 1 whole division of first responders. We've been meeting with department heads, and they've been wonderful. I think we have somewhere in the range of 12 floats that are going to be involved in the parade. We have Civil War reenactors, Revolutionary War, World War II. Hopefully our National Guard will be appearing in the parade with us. We have bands, we have horses, we have clowns, we have civic groups, we have our religious groups.
Now, when you said clowns, were you talking about Brian and myself?
Oh, yeah. I would never infer that.
I'll get my red nose. But I'm glad you mentioned the clowns, because I think parades really, they kind of just jump out for kids.
Yes.
And we're all kind of kids at heart when it comes to a parade.
Yes,
I'm the biggest one. I'm there waving the flag. But what's going to be there for the kids? What's going to have them just jumping out of their socks?
Well, there's going to be a lot of candy,
Yeah. Okay.
which
yeah.
is always a big hit with all the kids.
Can I interrupt?
Absolutely.
I've got a little story with
Yes,
that.
please
Okay?
do.
Our head solicitor was in CVS the other day, and he come out like a kid on Halloween with bags and bags of candy. He convinced that CVS should donate the candy for the kids. And from what I understand, this isn't the rock. This is good wrapped.
Good
and
stuff.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another super job by Dave.
Yes.
Pulling together
He's the
help for the
master.
parade. But yeah.
And so, did CVS donate some of the candy?
Absolutely. He
Well, let's hear it
he
for
came
CVS.
out with the bags. Yeah.
Let's hear it for CVS. And
Yeah.
that's we're coming full circle to the same theme that we're going to talk about and have been talking about for 2 years, and that's community.
Yeah.
And you know,
Bringing folks together. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you think of a company that's national in scope, headquartered in Rhode Island, you think, hey, they're just in Easton to fill prescriptions, sell suntan oil.
Yeah.
But here they say,
Yep.
nope, let us help.
They're-
Let us
yep.
donate the candy.
Yeah.
Great.
One of the
That's
guests
awesome.
that I think that the kids are going to enjoy is Mickey Mouse. He's going to be coming down the street.
All right.
And of course, we as a committee, the parade committee, strongly recommends that we don't throw candy off the vehicles, safety reasons.
Yes.
But there'll be people walking along that'll pass out the candy. And it's hopefully going to be something for everybody to enjoy in that
Yeah.
parade. I mean, we got enough trucks to just have a truck parade.
We do. We do.
But between the
And that's another
bands
thing the kids love is trucks. So,
Yeah.
and I think that the bands and the floats, and there's a great sense of cooperation. Stonehill College has a couple of floats that are going to be in the parade. Tell us about those.
Oh. Again, I'll tell you about my float later on too. I shouldn't call it mine. It's a group effort, but yes. Can I talk about Ollie?
Go ahead.
Okay. If any of you folks have watched the Thanksgiving parade down in Plymouth, you know that that's a huge parade. There's an awful lot that goes on. Well, there's a character, Ollie DiMacedo. He runs Boston Sand and Gravel. And while we were working on our planning and getting our meetings together, I'm just thinking to myself, here's this guy down in Plymouth that's done a super job. Maybe we could kind of get him to help a little. And so our chairman, Corey, says, yeah, okay, contact him. I called him up and I says, Ollie, this is Lee Thompson. I'm from Easton and we're planning the 300th parade. And we know that you're the chief honcho with the Plymouth parade. Would you be kind enough to kind of give us some help? He says, oh, I'm a Stonehill alumnus. I would love to come up and help you. Well, you wouldn't believe it. He's come up and we took him through the parade route. And yes, it sounds like you're doing well. Yes. And he says, I got to get Stonehill involved. So he has, well, it started out as an eagle, but it's going to be a hawk now.
yes.
And the wings,
Skyhawk.
That's
yeah,
right.
the wingspan on this thing is, and it moves. So I've been down there with them. I'm working on our float, but this thing is going to be amazing. The wings move. It comes down the street. But one of the things that Ollie said was, "Hey, you guys are shovel town. You got to put a shovel in the parade. You need a shovel." He provided us with a flat deck, and we've built a little facsimile of the Ames shovel works. We've got a wheel that goes with it, and Ollie talked me into making a shovel. We're going to have a shovel 12 feet long, 12 feet long. And I went into the archives at Stonehill, and they have pictures of all the shovels. Well, I'm a retired engineer, so I get out the vernier, and I scaled one of the shovels and actually made it, blew it up larger than it was. And so it's actually going to be a replica of a shovel that's 12 feet long, and it's going to be going down the street. That's, yeah.
And again, for the folks out there that might have just joined us, we're talking about the Easton 300 Parade, which we think may be the largest parade that the town of Easton has had over the years. And the parade lineup is at 9 a.m. It begins at 10 a.m. And of course, there's going to be thousands of people in the parade. And, you can double or triple the crowds that might be watching the parade. So you got pretty long Center Street and Main Street where you can find a spot to watch the parade. The review stand will be located at DPW, and we also wanted to thank CERT, Community Emergency Response Team. They're going to be at 3 different locations. They'll be at the beginning of the parade, they'll be at the middle of the parade, and at the end, passing out water. And of course, we'll be available for anybody that needs first aid. And I got 2 magic announcers who are going to be on the review stand. One is on my right.
I'm not sure I would go that far, but
And his,
maybe
his
talk
name
about
is,
Dan.
is Brian Hoffman. And of course, Dan is also going to be involved with you, but
Dan
you have a
Anderson.
copy of the parade lineup, and you certainly know the community.
Yeah.
And I think that you and Dan are a good choice
Thank you.
to be involved.
Should be a lot of fun. While you guys were covering, by the way, I love the idea of the shovelly. That's going to be monumental. And as a Stonehill alum, I'm very glad to hear that Father John and the rest of the gang on the hill are getting involved. But as you were talking about that, I was just flipping through the 5 divisions. And there's no way I'm going to tell people about everything. But if you're watching and you're thinking, I've seen a lot of parades before, you're not going to see this stuff in just every parade. The USS Constitution Color Guard, the Army National Guard Transportation Company, the Stonehill Trolley, the Clydesdale Horses. If you've never been up to the Anheuser-Busch gardens up in New Hampshire where the Clydesdales reside, they're magnificent. The Lepro Shriners are going to be here. If you've ever watched the Shriners Parade out of Philadelphia, it's going to be here, folks, and it's going to be big as life and twice as local because it's here.
They're almost a whole division.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The Colonel Henry Knox Regimental Color Guard and Company A54, Massachusetts Voluntary Infantry. I think those are the Revolutionary guys. This is going to be a parade to end all parades. So sorry for just reading to people, but
And I just wanted to add
that's
also,
just a little something out of each of the 5 divisions.
the sheriff's office is going to be there, and he's bringing vehicles and
As long as he's not bringing a warrant for me,
well,
we don't know for sure.
that won't be in Division
Good.
1.
Yeah,
but,
that won't.
yeah.
That'll be in Division 5 after we get through it all. But
The
it's going to
fact
be a
is
massive
that
parade.
it's exciting, and there's going to be some surprises, folks. So come and watch the parade. I told people there'd be some surprises at the fireworks. And Craig, maybe you can give us your viewpoint. What did you think of the fireworks that we had here in the town of Easton?
I thought that was just an incredible event between the flag ceremony, which was, to me, that was as good as the fireworks. Just being there with the flags and watching them unravel these beautiful flags and the history, but behind each flag, as told by the keeper of the flags.
Yeah.
I was just completely unaware that each flag had such a grand history behind it.
Yep.
And I don't know, should we talk about the one flag that's being retired in Easton?
Yes. I know that the gentleman, Mark Valentine, who is the curator of the flags, he's been traveling around the world promoting the Mount Rushmore flag. And he, at the microphone, was the President of the United States of America, telling him exactly, giving him the cue when to unveil the flag. So he's been around, he's done a lot. This was the final stop here in Easton, Massachusetts for our 300th anniversary. And as I sat back and I watched, Brian, residents of the town, maybe 115 people holding 3 giant flags, I said to myself, that's really what our mission is to bring
Really
the
is.
community together and to salute the veterans here in our community. And then to have the flyover in the middle of it, you either had tears in your eyes or you had joy on your face because of the community coming
it was
together.
emotional.
Tears of joy too.
So it was very, very
Made
special.
you proud to be an American.
Oh, absolutely.
Just it was an incredible moment. And the picnic was absolutely amazing. Jessica Zimmerman organized that, and the concert and the fireworks as a finale. My gosh, what an amazing day. And so many free events for all the kids. The Italian ice was free, the over half dozen bounce houses that were all just free to use.
And of course, we thank the Bank of Easton for sponsoring the picnic and the flag ceremony.
Yeah.
And we'd also like to, in the concert, but we'd also like to thank Alex Pyres,
Yes.
Mhm.
former resident here in the town of Easton. You talk about giving back to the community. He put up the funds for the fireworks. And folks, in case you wanted to know, the fireworks company, the fire chief and we met with the fireworks company, American Thunder. They gave us a $35,000 fireworks display for around 25 grand. So you get the figures right from what they exactly are
Yeah.
in terms of pulling it off. But there's a lot of people in town that want them to come back next Flag Day. So that's something that we got to get through this celebration first.
Yes.
But that's what happens when you have a celebration like this. Some of the events become annual.
Well, it is, and I think one of the things that you and I both know is that we have heard from other towns who have their centennial things coming up about how'd you guys do that? Or as one person said to David, said, we've got our 300th coming up. When is your event? We're like, no, we don't have an event, So I think that it is a remarkable, and my co-host, my one of the best people I know in the town of Easton, wouldn't have happened without Dave. Dave is the gel that holds this whole thing together, and I don't mean to embarrass you, but I'm not sure I know of anybody who could have pulled this off even half as well as you have.
Well, I thank you for that suggestion, but no one man walks alone. You
Yeah, that's
surround
true.
yourself with lots of people.
That's true.
And I am very grateful. We started out with 10 people appointed
True,
by the
true.
Easton Select Board back in December of 2022.
Wow. Yeah.
And nobody that were part of the 10 realized that we were going to have about 80 meetings to pull this off. And otherwise, they might not have continued.
I think they might have disappeared into the woodwork if somebody told them they're going to have 80 or 85.
But we
meetings.
have multiplied to the point we got 40 or 50 active members who have roles and responsibilities. And before we're finished, there's going to be hundreds because it takes 35 people just to do a parade. And that parade is coming up on July 12th. And I remember that first meeting where we got together and we said, well, what are we going to do?
Yep.
What kind of money do we need to raise? Where are we going to get the money to make this happen?
And I
how
think we
can
saw
we-
a whole bunch of jaws drop when we started talking about the money. It's like, oh my gosh, how will
So,
we ever raise that kind of money?
I saw some people that looked like they were tired just having the first discussion, but somehow it happened. And the dedicated volunteers who came forward at the request of the select board, it's been absolutely terrific. And we've had a couple of members who said they couldn't make a meeting. You know, you made 79 of them. That's okay.
Yeah.
The fact is that they do the job. And they don't have to come to every meeting, but we need their input. And it's all the volunteers. Now, how did you two guys get involved? We'll start with you, Craig.
The Lions Club was actually how I became involved. There's a lot of crossover between the 300th and the Lions Club. We have many members that, are involved in both groups. So there was a couple, Dale Carrister, who was co-chair with you, Mr. Clifton, Courtney Pumpkin, who has been an incredible fundraising effort that she's put on is just incredible. Just so many great people that put in so many hours of volunteer work to make this happen for the town. So that's how I kind of got involved. And then I was, they said, well, we think the parade would be a good fit for you. And it really has been. It's just an incredible group of people.
How about you, Lee? How did you get involved in the planning of this huge
Who
celebration.
grabbed you?
I was just going to use the analogy of walking across the stage and someone puts a hook on your neck. I'm a gearhead. I'm an absolute, I think I got oil in one vein and blood in another. Anyway, I have a Corvette, had a couple at the time, and I thought, geez, a parade like that, we probably put, I'm a member of the New England Corvette Club, we could probably have some cars in the parade. So I showed up at a meeting and talking, and the next thing you know, it was like a vortex. It's like, wow. But I'll tell you what, I am having fun.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's a lot of work.
I remember the very first meeting you went to. You had, I think, dark brown hair.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyways, we're going to take a short break. Brian and I and our two guests are going to come back after the break and talk about many other events that are going to be coming up. Yes, we have reached the halfway point of a huge celebration that's taking place. 300 years of history in this community. We'll be right back. Welcome to Service Matters, a weekly radio show that talks about the good things that are happening in local communities and beyond.
Since 1978, the Easton Food Pantry has been dedicated to providing food to our neighbors in times of need. As long as there's hungry people in our community, our doors are open, our hearts will be open to help.
We also like to talk about the good things that people do to make a difference, and in many cases, to make dreams real for folks out there in need.
Just to chat about, as you say, some of the good things in life. There's some of the good things, the great things, and the happy things.
And certainly watch us on ECAT, Easton Community Access Television. Welcome back to Easton 300, an opportunity to bring families and, of course, the community together. I'm Dave Clifton here along with Brian Hoffman. We've been hosting this show, co-hosting, and it's been a lot of fun. And we have two people here today that have done lots of work for the entire celebration, not just the parade. And we certainly appreciate it. And I know that there's been a lot of surprises that seem to come up when you're planning a celebration like this. And I wanted to ask our guest, I'll start with you, Lee. Any surprises that popped up?
Well, I alluded to it in the earlier session that we had, is that when I had Ollie DiMarcito come up and review, he says, you got to get a float with a shovel in it. And that's something that hit us out of the blue. And this was only like 4 or 5 weeks ago that this happened. Yes, yes. Craig and Scott and I drove down to Plymouth, and I'll tell you what, Ollie has floats sequestered all around
all
the
over town.
He even has floats in a building on the Plymouth County jailhouse. And these things are gorgeous.
Yeah.
These things are really
Sure.
gorgeous. Yeah. So Ollie says, yeah, you got to get. So he showed us this trailer. It's 8 feet wide, 20 feet long, and it's just flat. And he says, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put a shovel on here. So I came up with a concept, we have to put this shovel on there. We have to hold it up. Well, the early shovel works was done with water power. So I come up with okay, we'll put a wheel on the back and we'll rest the shovel against the wheel. And, oh no, that won't work. We got to put a shovel factory on there. We have to have we got to make it look like a 200-year-old factory. And yeah, you're right. We got to have a water wheel. He calls me up one afternoon. He says, hey, I got a guy up in Spencer going to sell me a water wheel. It's 2 feet in diameter. He says, will you go up and get it for me? So I drive up to Spencer, get the water wheel, and that thing is now on a frame in the back. And if you're going to have a water wheel, kind of should be turning. So I'm talking to Ollie's. You tear all kinds of buses apart. Do you have any windshield wiper motors? We could put a wiper motor and make this wheel turn. He says, Oh no. He says, I got this high torque 12-volt motor with a little rubber wheel. We'll put that up against it and we'll make it turn. So when it's coming down the street, unless the battery dies or the motor smokes, you're going to see the wheel going around. And this is something that just, the word is really evolved. It evolved. You know, we reach out to Ollie for help, and the next thing you know, he's like, well, yeah, I'm going to help, and you can do this and this. It's amazing.
Well, you know, he's an alumni member of the Stonehill College.
Yes. Yep.
And he, of course, has been a Skyhawk during his younger days.
Well, he was a chieftain like me during our younger days.
Yeah.
The Skyhawk is a more recent evolution. So when I graduated, we were chieftains.
Chieftains,
But
I remember that.
changed.
Yeah.
But
years ago,
how about you, Craig? Any surprises getting involved in the celebration that you'd like to bring to the attention of our viewing audience?
Did you think to be down in Scott's shop, strapping on the side and helping paint it?
We picked the 2 hottest days of the year
Oh,
to
we
do
sure
it.
did.
115 degrees in the shop, and
Yep.
but we got it done. And,
Absolutely.
And partnering with Ollie has been just an amazing thing. He's just such a world of knowledge, and he hosts one of the largest parades in America.
Yeah.
And he said that looking at our lineup, he thinks our parade is going to be even longer than the Plymouth Thanksgiving parade.
Yeah, that's the
which is-
hometown America parade.
That is the
yeah.
America's hometown.
Yeah.
So he's just a world of knowledge. He's an incredible craftsman. He's got just unbelievable amount of energy.
Yeah.
And it's just, kind
And
of.
it sounds like he's got a lot of creativity too.
He's incredibly.
It's amazing.
Thinking
It's
outside
amazing.
of
Yes.
penny boxes. You know?
Yes, it is.
I was talking with him the other day, and he says, you sent all these sketches down and dimensions. He says, I just think and build. He says, I don't draw it. No, I just think and build. And when you see some of the things that
it's
he's
amazing.
created,
I don't think he sleeps.
he has a 20-foot long model of the shuttle, the original with the sitting out behind the barn down at the correction
goodness.
facility.
So we'd like to take this opportunity to thank Ollie for
Absolutely, Ollie.
jumping in,
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
we're so happy that he went to Stonehill, because
Yes.
that's his tie-in to doing what he can to help out. And I know Stonehill College has their alumni. We're expecting maybe about 100 that will be in this
They're going to
parade.
be involved. They're gonna
And
be
they
in
have
the
a
parade.
dinner going on at Stonehill after the parade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when we look at Stonehill's involvement, it was from day one to the last day. They hosted our inaugural event back on January 4th, where we were hoping to maybe get 900 to 1,000, maybe 1,200 people. And I think the last guess we got was about 2,800.
Easily.
And that was free to the public. Kids came, adults came. There were bouncy houses, there were games, there were things to do, there was food. And Stonehill hosted that at the Sally Blair Ames Complex. They're going to host our wrap-up gala in December, I think on December 27th.
So they opened up with our site for the celebration, and they're
Yep.
going to close with the
Yep.
gala.
Yep. And
It'll be on December 27th. What I would like to do is to give a nice thank you and shout out to all of the major sponsors who kicked in money to help us plan and prepare. And certainly we want to thank Bank of Easton. We want to thank the Northeast Savings Bank. We have thanked already Alex Pires, who provided the fireworks for us.
Yep.
Doug King Builders, Inc., he's going to be sponsoring the major block party that Dan will be involved in coordinating with his wife, Jamie. And of course, the Dorenzo Charitable Foundation. They certainly are going to be a big help and supporter of the bonfire,
Yep.
headed up by the fire chief.
Yep.
And we also wanted to thank the Roach Brothers for providing the food for the barbecue. Right now, the plan is to have 2 bands, not 1. And we're all going to be at the high school complex for that.
Yep.
So we're expecting a big crowd. Certainly, the Haynes Group is doing the parade, which is the next event coming up on July 12th. And of course, the gala sponsored by the Lee Williams Foundation, the Family Foundation, and those are our major sponsors who came through with flying colors. We also thank the SCU Credit Union. They chipped in $15,000 and were a sponsor for one of our major events. And we couldn't do it without them. And we couldn't do it without our coordinators for each event.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a committee of 10 appointed by the select board, but each major event had a coordinator, and the coordinator had volunteers. And we're forever grateful to them for stepping up, because it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of planning. And they, I think so far, have been outstanding.
They have. And I mention this every show, David, and we talk about all of the volunteers who've been involved, whether it's on the parade, on the bonfire, the fireworks, whatever. And it sounds like we're all set. We are never all set. So if you've got a couple of hours of energy to spare, if you've got a great creative brain like Ollie, or an engineer's mind like Lee, or you're just a go-do-it guy like Craig here, if you've got a few hours to spare and you want to get involved, get in touch with us. We always can use more volunteers, and the more people in the community who get involved, the more the community benefits. So,
and as I've said many times, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of helping others.
Yeah,
do what you
exactly.
can
Absolutely.
to jump in.
right.
That's a magic word,
Yes.
isn't it? Serve.
It is.
Yes.
And I say to the class of 2025, I thank you folks for coming forward. We got a big thrill out of passing out over 300
amazing.
blankets
What a
Yep.
great
that
idea.
shows the history of the town. And some students asked that question, why the blankets? I
Yeah.
said, well, we wanted to make sure that you take with you when you go off to college or whatever your journey is, that you remember the history of the town of Easton, that you remember the roots, because someday I hope that that blanket will be visible and you'll be able to say to yourself, now it's my turn to give back to the community where I come from.
Amazing.
Yep.
And
And bring that blanket back with you. It'll be a cherished, memento of what's happened during this year. And that's another thing. We look at people like Amanda and Anne Marie and Karen, who have headed up the merchandise and the apparel stuff. And it's a little thing, but everywhere in town, anywhere you go, people have commemorative stuff that says, I was there. I had fun. I remember that. And they're going to keep it on the shelf in their home, or they're going to wear it until it wears out. But there are ways that people can say, yeah, I'm connected to my town. And that's, you can't ask for anything more than that.
And while we're thanking people, let's thank Piper Janalis. She's the one that did this logo. And what a great job she did. She took the local clock and made a nice theme, and it's everywhere. It's all around town. There are some communities that have said to me that, Dave, you've got the most pole banners I've seen in a lot of communities.
Yep.
You had the best fireworks that I've seen in other towns. And we may end up having the largest parade
We may.
that the community's had. And we've had some sparks of possible rain, but we still had the activity and we had good turnouts.
And it isn't about being the biggest. That's going to be great if we are, but it's about being what represents Easton. It's about being who we are, how we all came together, and how we all made this happen.
And the town's got a lot to celebrate. I mean, we're celebrating 300 years of history. And thank you to the Lions Club for putting together a very special event that celebrated the history of the town. They brought in speakers and they talked about the history. And when you walk through the main street in Northeastern and you see all these buildings, you automatically know there's history that goes with this. They don't build buildings like this today.
No, that's for
But some comments that you'd like to make, go ahead.
Next time, give me the memo about the fancy shirt. I won't leave mine home in the closet. I walked in, it's like, who's this weirdo sitting
But I'll
in
tell
this?
you, you stand out in the gray
Yes, you do.
Well, there you go.
between
you go.
three black
Yep.
jerseys. Yeah.
Yep. You're our contrast guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, I was watching you after the bonfire. You were putting up signs and taking down signs. It wasn't just to be on a committee and collect tickets. I mean, you were actually doing physical work.
Oh, the fireworks.
Very impressive
Amazing.
that you were willing to do just about anything to help the celebration.
Yeah. And
And
thank goodness we have a group of volunteers, committee folks, coordinators, chair people who are all the same way. They just roll up their sleeves, dig in,
Get
and
it
do
done.
and do what needs to be done.
I was going to say that you, whatever event we go to, that it's kind of like a reunion of the committee,
Yeah.
because each event, they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I helped with the hay rides down at Langwater. You know,
Sure.
you do what you can,
Yep.
and it's like the more you do, the better you feel.
And you have
really,
fun
it's
doing
just
it,
like,
too, Lee.
I'm one of the crew now. Yeah.
You get to be a
You'll
kid.
give me
again.
a shirt next time.
You know, the celebration committee is going to be meeting again on the 8th of July, and it's the week before the big parade takes place. But they also have some other things on the agenda, and we have a special event that's been added. It's going to be an Easton night at the Campanelli Stadium
Oh, right.
over in Brockton.
Brockton Rocks.
Brockton,
Yes.
Massachusetts, the
Yes.
city of champions. Well, we got some real champions. The town of Easton is coming over to be guest of the Brockton Rocks.
Yeah.
And we're not only going to have people singing the national anthem, we're going to have our select board throwing out the first ball. And there's going to be 4 people throwing out the first ball. But there's going to be lots of exciting things happening. And folks, if you're wondering where can you get a ticket, hold on. Let's get through the parade first.
Yep,
It's
we'll be
scheduled
talking
for
about it.
August 16th. And we may have a few thousand tickets to pass out to people in town
That's great.
that want to take their families and enjoy a night out together. And
Yep.
we thank the Brockton Rocks and their officials for opening up the doors for us as we celebrate the 300th anniversary.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And then we have on September 6th a block party at the Governor Eames Estate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be events and activities for people of all ages. Again, that date, September 6th. And we're excited about it. Dan and Jamie Anderson are going to be co-chairing that. And I remember back in the early 2023, they already had 17 volunteers
I know it.
at the
I know
first
it.
meeting.
Yeah. Yep.
And so he's very well organized. He and his wife have stepped up to do what needed to be done. And we're excited about that. So somebody asked me on a text, where is the parade going to start and where's it going to end?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be starting at the monument, but rather than tie up the whole town's traffic on Depot Street, we decided to move the start up to where Short Street is. We're going to have all the fire apparatus from all the different towns line up, led by the fire chief and the Easton Department. They're going to be heading towards town, parked on the right-hand side of the road. And then from Short Street back to the monument will be 3 divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Porter
All
Street will be
staged
the
up.
location. Again, I repeat that Porter Street will be the location for divisions 3 and 4.
4 and 5.
4 and 5, I
Yeah,
meant.
1 through 3.
4 and 5.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yep.
3.
No, it's right. It's good.
4 comes after 3. Yes, it does. Okay.
1 through 3 will be from Short Street back to the monument.
Yes.
Yep.
But
Yes.
folks, trying to keep the parade together, and you know that, Mel, that's part of your training for the folks involved in the parade. We'd like to be able to keep the parade together. And between the hours, somebody said, when does the parade end? And I'd say 11:30 to 12 noon. It may go longer, depending on what happens. And there may be some people performing at the review stand.
There may be, yeah, but you know, it'll end when it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll know that for sure.
Yeah.
You'll be telling us that because you'll be down watching the units come past.
And I want
the
to
old
thank
NEG.
DPW for not only doing the cleanup, but also closing down the roads. And you folks should know that Center Street and Main Street for a couple of hours, maybe a little bit more, for the parade, which every town does. They have to close off streets.
Yep.
And we say to all the neighbors that hopefully you'll be a little flexible just for the parade day.
Yeah.
And our apologies for interfering with family stuff that has to be done.
Good thought, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I'd like to do right now is get some final thoughts. Craig, anything you'd like to add? I know we got lots of events coming up, and I know you've already ordered your tuxedo for the gala.
Oh, looking forward to that one. That's going to be quite a spectacular event. All I would say is our Center Street, as planned now, is going to be shut down around 9 a.m. on Saturday, July 12th. So plan accordingly and pick your best spot from Short Street up to Main, your best viewing spot along the parade route, and just settle in. It's going to be an amazing day, and it's going to be a parade to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And how about you, Lee?
It also heads around the corner. You can go to the old grammar school. It's going to be there too. And a thought just kind of buzzed along with the 9 million go on my ADHD brain is that don't discount the fire engines. Don't, you know, we kind of casually mention there are going to be a whole bunch of fire engines, but think about it. All the towns around, they want to show off their most recent, their most scientifically wonderful piece of machinery. So there's going to be some really great stuff, but there's going to be the old stuff too, like the old 38 Ford that I can remember when the fire station was on Sullivan Avenue. That's going to be there too. You're going to see some old stuff as well as new. So don't discount it. You know, that's and appreciate. I mean, I'm addicted to Chicago Fire. I watch Chicago Med and Chicago, and I'm addicted to Chicago Fire. and it's a wonderful example of how these guys, when everybody else is running away, they run in. So when the fire engines are going by, just think, those are the heroes on the fire trucks for you. Give them a good wave.
Yep.
And it's also an opportunity to salute the veterans who
Absolutely.
have served our country.
Yes.
They'll be in convertibles, and you'll get a chance to put your hands together and to thank them for joining the armed forces to do what they can to protect our country. And of course, you're going to see some antique cars. You're going to see some classic vehicles. And we don't know exactly how many are going to show, but we know there's lots coming. And it's going to be a giant parade, and we expect it. We expect to see the town officials will be there. The fire chief will lead the fire departments, and the police chief will be leading the 5 divisions. And at the end of the parade, you'll have police protection at the end. And then you'll see also at the end a hay wagon ride that comes from Canton, Massachusetts. And on that hay wagon ride will be the committee. And it's a chance for you to thank the committee members for the planning and organizing. And it's a chance for the committee to put their hands together to thank the crowds and the sponsors and the donors for bringing everybody together. And you're going to find a few microphones out there. A couple will be at the review stand. And that's going to be up to you, Brian and Dan, to thank the people and to wish everybody a happy anniversary, Town of Easton. It only happens once, folks, 300 years.
We won't be here for the next one.
We will not.
And I'm going to try to come back anyways. The fact is, The time capsule is another thing.
We're going to put you in the time capsule.
We're gonna be opening up a time capsule through the select board, and we're gonna be burying one probably on the 21st of December, which happens to be the anniversary date for the town of Easton, Massachusetts. Some final comments, Mr.
No,
Co-Chair.
I think we have covered an awful lot of stuff this evening. It circles back to the thing that you and I have been talking about for close to 3 years now, and that is, this is all about community. It's for the community. It's of the community. And the great thing is, it's participated in by the community. We're not importing, movie stars and glittering folks. We're showing folks what. Yes, she couldn't make it. We're showing folks what Easton's made of, and what it's been made of, and what it's going to be made of for the next 300 years. We won't have to be here to know this is a town that's going to stick around.
And one of the things that we thought about when we were planning this celebration is, wouldn't it be nice if we could celebrate and have events where people don't have to leave town all the time to go see fireworks? They had it in their own town. And the same thing with this giant parade. And there's been a great sense of cooperation from community organizations, starting right with the Lions Club. They have been willing to do what they can to help all the town departments. There's been continuity, communication, and cooperation, and all the volunteers. And one of the highlights that has been there for me is I met lots of new people here in the town of Easton.
Me too.
Starting with you three people, that it's something that I think some of us are going to be friends long after the celebration is over. And it's kind of a nice, warm feeling. And I say that to the committee members and all the volunteers, that we all have to agree to disagree at times. We all don't feel the same way about some suggestions, but it comes together.
It does.
And for the best interest of the town and the celebration. So as we come to the close of our show, we remind everybody that we're at the halfway point. We've had a lot of events take place already. We got a good track record right now.
We do.
People have enjoyed what they've seen. They're going to come back for the rest of the events. Enjoy Easton, the place where you live, you work, and you play. And say to yourself how lucky we are to have what we have, and to live in a community like Easton, Massachusetts.
Well said.
And that's going to wrap up our show. Some final words?
A quick little thing that's been rattling around is that when you're on the side watching the parade, it's not only going to be the big fancy stuff. There are going to be like some karate groups, some dance. There are going to be little kids in the parade participating. So the kids on the side can see the kids in the parade.
It's a good point,
so
Lee.
We've got everything from Clydesdale to Peanuts.
It's a good point.
And you might even see some Harleys in the parade.
Oh, you might.
And you'll see horses. The list goes on and on.
Yes.
Somebody wanted to put their dog in the parade. That's what's happening, folks. It looks like a lot of community service.
That's a good point to end on too, Lee. It's for everybody, and it'll include everybody.
That's going to wrap it up for Easton 300. Go forth to serve. And if you're going to do something to help someone out, do it with a smile on your face and with the dignity that it deserves. Thank you. See you at the parade.